Hi everyone, it is April 19th, sorry. I figured why the light's good, the daylight. I'd sit down here and let Spirit guide me on who we're going to bring in and what message they might have for us. So, with that, first let me secure my channel. Okay, here they are. This would be my higher. Thank you, Andrea, for challenging me. To the picking of your guest today. It shall render for your video an audience to be pleased. While of course the pleasing of everyone will not be possible, for it is our human nature not to entirely agree with things within a large group of us. I get that. Today, I request the coming forward. Your long-awaited celebrity for message. Okay. Oh, for their bringing of message. Okay. Andrea, I bring forward Michelangelo for your audience's knowing better of who Michelangelo was for the time period that Michelangelo was, okay? Michelangelo, welcome. He says, I am pleased to coming here. I am properly introduced as Michelangelo, the inventor, the artist, the writer. I have many titles or introductions, but never once have I been introduced or known as the man, given the name Michelangelo upon my birth. This is amazing that I'm summoned for the opportunity to give of my accounting of my own witnessing of my life while alive in that era. I have to concentrate on this. I have to be careful what I wish for sometimes. I was thinking of something lighthearted and something I'm interested in, which I'm really not. Sorry, Michael, it's not anything personal. None taken, Andrea. For I gather for the knowing that most won't be illumified, lit up by by my message of being just merely Michelangelo outside of my stardom. Mind you, I didn't create my stardom, nor was it alleged upon my lifetime. It would be for many years after my death that my name even became known amongst human society. I gather the recollection of my memory within any of you are maybe much like Andrea's, for the lack of knowing much history about me. I was to create many inventions, many that you see from your dinner table today. What he's saying is on TV. I might as well start at the beginning, Andrea, where much is to be given in light of the man himself having been born to my parents so thin as to barely make it to the surviving of me within my mother's belly. She was near starved when I was born. And for the milk to be lack, they substituted my mom's milk with that of the farm. The goats, mainly the goats. There were a time or two when the cow's milk was more fit for me, meaning more available. But mainly I was rendered fat due to the fat within the goat's milk. My mother had long run dry of her own milk upon my consuming of the goat's milk for its supplying of the demand. I get that. It should have rendered me title of the goat man for all intended purposes of that which I survived. There will be no history written upon any pages that give testament to the difficulty upon my mother's body in giving birth to me. Guys, I have to find an ashtray. I'm sorry. Hold on, Michael. My days, my parents' days, felt numbered. They figure for every day they awoke was a blessing. For it was one more day they got to be present in my life and know me, their son, Michelangelo. For merely my presence, not, it's obviously not my stature in my stardom, as it hadn't come yet. I was the infant they held fragile within their thin bones. I cried not for the hunger, the hungering for my stomach, but I was not without the hearing of the grumbling of theirs as they held me upon their bodies. He says I could literally hear their stomachs grumbling. The hollow gurgles, he says, which became all too familiar to me in a way that it soothed me, very much like your mother's heartbeat would, a breastfeeding child. In the hollows of those gurglings, I laid fortitude, my securing, my comfort, for its recognizing of whom was holding me. Far beyond even my memory as I was to grow as a human child. I quit the taking of the goat's milk upon my own understanding of what I was taking from the infant goats. He's saying that's how old he was by the time he had stopped drinking goat's milk. He says, nursing, Andrea, I did nurse off the goats. With my mother's or father's help in holding me, he did suckle from the goats. He's kind of on behalf of his parents in the only way that he could be fed. For he would not take the milk in any other way. As the infants, they suck. That's what they do. Okay. My gold enriched fortitude of my parents' thinking, of my parents' consideration of me and what was best for me, was found within the milk of the goats by my own mouth. The residue of the milk within my mouth was destined me for the grief of later my teeth be rotting before they even came through. I had no teeth. As true as my mother had no milk. My mouth was absent of teeth. For the corroding that the goat's milk did to his mouth. The cradling of the milk within his gums. I'm seeing between the cheek and the gums. It resided there, Andrea, for the damage that it would create in my upcoming teeth as well as the adult teeth below. And for many night, I cried for the pain of the deteriorating of the roots below the teeth that had come up. My mother measured my tears in teaspoons upon the soaking of the clothes she wore when she held him crying. Although it stained not her shirt, it stained her heart. My tears stained her heart. for her inability or unknowing of what it was causing me the pain from which my tears came. I was hollow for words. As I nearly was old enough to learn to speak, when this attack upon my teeth came, suddenly, but excruciating, you know what I'm saying. Excruciating. The tonsils within my throat, he's saying within the back of my mouth, were also heavily coated with the milk's bacteria, the filming, he's saying the filming, the coating, Andrea, yes, the bacteria was like coating of my tonsils, as well as it had my future coming teeth held tightly beneath my gums. I say tightly, Andrea, because they refuse to rise naturally due to their deteriorating state, interfering with the natural rising of them. To my earliest memories, my mind held pain. The excruciating memory of the excruciating pain led my mind to never rest, to never lie upon the altar of relaxation, of resting and falling upon better times. For it was constantly being chased, and I was constantly trying to outrun the memory of such excruciating pain that I suffered for years, for the first few, if not many years of my life as a child. I became fit for my pulling of my very teeth when he rendered fit to hold the tool to pull them without dropping them because it hurt so bad. How old were you? I was nearly 16 years old when I finally gained he's saying the strength, but more the fortitude within his mind to allow himself to do that. The teeth came in intervals, the pullings, due to the harm he did to his gum lines in his persistence in getting to the teeth below. I was a swollen mouth of infection those years upon his near adulthood. Good Lord. My questioning for myself, my enduring such pain and agony throughout all of my memory lent to me only the answer that for some reason I deserve that, or in another life, I question what I did to deserve such karma. And I suited fit to believe in karma for that very reason. For the wisest in my day would come to find my predicament, my circumstances as karma. And he knew it. Not that they were told to come to that conclusion, but he knew that that's what they would say. So he gathered that upon himself, for himself, by himself, for his privacy to remain of his bad karma. Wow. I hid my devilish circumstances. Aww. He was embarrassed. He thought he was the devil because he must have done something really bad. I counted on my karma, believing everything that it told me, with every bit of pain that I suffered, having known every bit of it. All my growing years, I cried. Tears of pain through my gums, through my teeth. The teeth that I could never find, for they were rooted far beneath the surface of the ceiling of my gums. I cut to the root. I cut through to the root, or the crown of every tooth in my mouth, for the getting it out, for the releasing of the pain each one of those in my mouth rendered to me, as if devils themselves, providing the agony that I so began to believe that I had earned in some other lifetime. Yet it dispelled for me nothing telling me otherwise. When he finally got those teeth, they didn't say to him otherwise that he didn't deserve them, the pain. My majesty was held in my suffering, or better, the silence of it. It was what was known to me as my majesty, my strength. My majesty for the devil not having gotten to his thoughts. So he was never led to suicidal thoughts, right? I was never led astray from the knowing of the cause in my mouth. Therefore, I set meaning to the better things I would do in this lifetime. I would make better for my next lifetime in the things that I would create and do for my fellow man and their futures upon generations and generations. He says, hence my inventions were as spectacular and useful and beneficial to man as I intended. Today there are many things written upon articles, upon titled pages with my name on them in reference to my inventions, my creations, my doings for the betterment of humanity. Yet they tear at the end. They tear off as if unfinished for the very reason for my intention was never supplied knowledge by anyone. Do my own, what's the word? My own securing of strength for not to tell, not to be hindered by those affording me my inventions. So I understand that. My gift became apparent along my guiding of it through what I had already invented. The magic came into my mind like a slow trail of dust to settle. The mirror gave me no clear understanding or area on which to pinpoint where this magic was coming from, being fed me through some small portal, as small as the place where the milk came out of the goat. That fattened me, but yet rendered me evil, or in my mind. Andrea, it was in my thoughts. It was not in my mind. I separated the two for the well-being of my mind, to create for humanity and to salvage my next lifetimes empty of the torturous pain that I had endured for so many years. The clawing into the depths of my jaw that my young mind did, saved me from allowing my older mind to continue to do so in a natural split or tearing of that ever happening. I resided within my mind, and I ran from my thoughts, and for there I was safe. My doing so opened a portal for my gathering of images, of ideas. The ideas would come to me, and I would create them. Much in my hand, he drew much of what was coming to him. He drew in his sketches. He wrote many articles, or what by articles you mean detailed instructions and accounting of these machines, these creations, in every detail as to their building and their purpose, and to be wise of the ways and the reasons why they would work, or why they did work. I quested upon each idea for another. I secured the faucet of the 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 portal, the bringing of ideas. I secured that in its placement by rendering my thoughts not a part of my mind, my thinking, as if sparing my mind of those thoughts, his memories, allowed for space for the incoming ideas I knew weren't mine for the seeding or the growing of them. They were of divine, something separate from him. And he acknowledged that within his own, not thinking, but his own mind. Therefore securing the beauty, the divinity, with the encasing of keeping his thoughts from the portal that was open within his mind. Our conscious life fears, disease, evil stories, devils of their own making, leading to so many minds being rendered unable to be used by in a significance through the channeling or the receiving of the divine. This stands true today. We weaken to our thoughts. Those that are allowed to stay within our mind bring cancer upon every cell. Do our unwillingness or inability, what he's saying is our believing that we're not able to compartmentalize them separate from our minds in everyday thinking. We were to grow beyond, far beyond any of the devil's doings, the pains and the fears and the unbelongings meant for our thinking, our minds. My bearing of such thoughts was it's allowing to be received the divine entities that we are, chose to deliver me through the space I allowed within it, the gifts and the ideas and the intentions that I had desired for my future man, for the future well-being of a society of human beings in all nature, in all nationalities, in all of its, he's saying segments, but segregations, he's saying. I foretold many astronomical events for leaders of nations, although when questioned was denied for my state of secrecy was more beneficial to them. So he was a Nostradamus. He was a seer. They didn't have anything to gain by letting the public know. My foreseeing, starbursts, arise within the human population. Would tell for the leaders for whom which to pray, for their slaying, upon which their rivals, they're the ones that would win, conquer over him. Wow. My stopping of the giving of such knowledge to my leaders did not hold myself in good arms, good reprise. They noted for my prisoning, where I was held. I was imprisoned. I was given a mirror allowing for paper and pen. Due to my inventions, my machines, for their creating of them, for their use of them, denying my fellow man the better population, the machines, its benefit to everyone. I canceled many of my drawings to the course of him sticking them in his feces with a stick, so no one could get them. I aligned along with my pen to come my strategies far before I put to the paper my ideas. So he began filtering what was unharmful, he says, unharmful to fellow man in the wrong hands. He refused to put on paper anything that, if fallen into the wrong hands, would harm the future populations of humans. He says, my fellow humans. I questioned, but I don't know what that means. He says, I question nothing for my handing them of anything beyond that point in its ability to be used to harm his fellow men. the wheels, the gearing going on in his mind to foresee ahead of the machine on the paper before he handed it. So he would foresee every outcome possible before he released such a powerful instrument. He threw more away than he ever delivered. Those hands that imprisoned him. I gave my thought. Now he's not saying my mind. I gave my thoughts for them yielding for my future human beings, their betterment, as not to befall hands of imprisonment or fate unknown to them by some small doing of my own hand. He was not going to be guilty of that. He revised many drawings for the fact that none were coming and they were expected. Like, where's this next invention? Because it's been so long. He revised them for their inner workings to not be comprehensible, to not be adjustable or comprehended in a way that it will ever work. To his own fastening his survival and ours. He was quickly given the wit also by the divine on just how to switch it, change it just a little bit, to maneuver it as useless. If not for the knowing of a few wise men, my course of doing such could have been longer, but was indeed caught between the thinkings and the minds of few wise men hired for the finding of my trickery, my deliberancy in failing these machines for their creating. Wow. I died in the chamber in which held me for the last how long? I'm so bad with numbers, guys. He's saying 12. Years or months? Years, Andrea. His last 12 years, right? I was imprisoned in one chamber where I spent my last 12 years creating machines of what could have been mass destruction, yet not for my better knowing, and in the divine entry of the fast knowing of how to render these things useless, even upon the eyes of the greatest minds. It suited me for my trusting they would be rendered safe in their inability to ever be created for the future lives that were to be at stake had I not done this tweaking of the instructions, the ability. Although the nature of how I rendered these machines unworkable was still, it is still unknown, still cannot be created. My ability to mask my doing so, however, was found quite easily seen amongst those hired to see me cheating the operation of my own machines. I died beneath the crest of my given executioner, which labeled for it in its symbols a fearing for all who see it, the guillotine within the master's switching of it, the master's giving of its commencement. Andrea, I am known for my genius, for my creations, for my machines, my diagrams of machines, for the future to someday be deciphered, and the majesty for which I gained for them from the divine through the portal within my mind, for my cherishing of the giving to the next. So what you're saying is your intention for mankind was pure. It was legitimately, genuinely, in earnest, in my deepest desire to give to my fellow humans an offering of something that would allow for their lives to be better and never worsened, never capitalized on, never turned against them. Wow. I flew magnificent machines within my mind for the clearing that my captive thoughts gave to my mind, for the allowing of it. We are dawned as newly humans, not knowing fear, nor knowing the gathering of them can be compressed, withheld from our minds, our daily thinkings, which in your wildest dreams can fashion and create machines divinely crafted, divinely instructed, divinely given us. It's human beings. We are divine. The workings of our mind are divine and have access to connection with the divine, with divinity, for our very earning for it, devotion for the good of mankind. Andrea, thank you for yielding your pen. What he's saying is the time for the video. For my giving of my own testimony to my human race in all its forms and genders. We will all claim our divinity, the knowledge of our divinity, when our fears, those implanted fears, those thoughts within our thoughts, are chambered very much like I was 12 years, the last 12 years of my life. That's it. He's gone. Wow. Who would have thought? Okay, I'm going to upload. Thank you, Michelangelo. That was intense. I understood a lot of that because I honestly believe that because I didn't receive this ability until I set the intention to write this book that would lift the spirits of every kid in the world, you know? And that's when it came in. Kind of parting the seas, anything that wanted to try to hold me back. In the end, it didn't. But I think that's what he meant. I don't know. I can't wait to watch it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Michelangelo. He says you're welcome. Everyone.